It's the third Saturday of the month, which means it's time to talk about Game Club once again. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpir.
Hello.
And MusiM.
Greetings.
This month we're going to talk about Shovel Knight. Let's break down the stats here. It was released June 26, 2014, which is way earlier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
And sort of released piecemeal on every other platform that has come out since then. Published and developed by Yacht Club Games, platforms, everything. Couple of interesting notes here. 3DS version, I was looking at some interesting stats about this game. 3DS version had a Street Pass Arena mode, which sounded kind of neat. And the Wii U version originally would let you leave messages for other players like Dark Souls.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun. The Wii U version originally had an exclusive co-op mode that came to all platforms early 2017, except for Vita, one quiet tier. Time travel. Metacritic 90, OpenCritic 88. Peers for the release date were not really a lot of things. Murdered Soul Suspect came out.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah. Valiant Hearts: The Great War also came out.
That's a really good game as well.
And international giant bomb hit Don Bradman Cricket 14 was released. One of my favorite giant bomb quick looks.
Yeah.
Year after year.
Oh, that's a good
So let's ask the question we always ask: top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked? I think this one sits right at top of the pile.
Oh, yeah. Nobody would stop talking about this from it came out. Like, I knew this game, like, the day it came out, and for at least 6 months afterwards, everybody was still talking about it on a weekly basis.
I definitely think it's top of the pile with the caveat of if you don't like precision jump platformers, then maybe not top of the pile.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's dive into the game itself. What we liked, what we didn't like. I will go first and say it has one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Jake Kaufman made just an outstanding soundtrack from front to back.
Yeah, definitely seconded on that front. Like, the soundtrack on that game is 90% of the time when I play video games, I have a headphone in and I'm listening to something else at the same time because too many games are generic, the same old sounds, the same old everything. Right. This is, it's like, oh, this is the action piece section. I'm Hans Zimmer. Ba ba ba. Yes, exactly. I think this is one of the few games where I didn't want the headphone in because the sounds in the game are so, like, the music is so good and so appropriately, yes, it's chiptune kind of, but I still think it's incredible.
I have a hard time answering this because I love the entire aesthetic. Like, the soundtrack's great. Like, I completely agree with you guys. But just to add something in, like, I love the aesthetic. I love the world. I love the towns in particular because the towns are just ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm gonna level up health through the gastronomer.
Right.
Who's my favorite aspect or my favorite thing in a town was basically the guy who gets really excited for you shoveling a dirt pile. Like,
yes.
That was the Spider-Man Homecoming equivalent of, hey, Spider-Man, do a flip.
Like,
right. I'm actually surprised, and I had forgotten the two towns were in the game from between. I played it back when it was when it came out. I think I was a Kickstarter backer, maybe, and I played it back then, and this is only the second time I've played it. I forgot the towns were there, and I forgot how cool they are. Like, there's a bunch of little secrets. There's that secret in the first town where you go down the ladder and you break the wall to the left, and there's that lady that throws potions at you with that mini game.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of that game is. I did it a couple of times.
It almost feels like a debug room where it's like, hey, we did this to test out potion physics for that one boss. That's kind of cool. We'll just leave it in.
Yeah.
I did not like that one boss.
Yeah.
The Plague Knight or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. That was a tough fight.
Yeah. Like, for the most part, I think, like, all the boss fights were awesome. They were, like, I kind of, like, all my favorite things, like, okay, back up for a second. I am not a precision jump platformer, 2D platformer person.
Mm-hmm.
So this game was excessively hard for me. I gather it was hard for everyone, but...
Yeah, I forgot how difficult it was. Yeah.
The things I love most about it are kind of everything else. Like, I thought all the boss fights were freaking awesome. Even the Plague Doctor, I didn't really have a rhyme or reason on how I beat him. I just kind of randomly beat him without a strategy, which was weird, because that was particularly hard. And then
the patterns were weird.
Yeah. Like, some of them were real, like the ice guy who's... Man, I thought I pulled up the names.
Polar Knight.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I was
not a huge fan of that fight.
I was down with it until he started turning all of the floor into spikes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that horrible feature comes back during the boss rush at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I wound up beating him with the Earth Fist thing.
Oh, yeah.
The punchy fists, yeah.
That's how I'm going to communicate this whole podcast.
Right, just pantomime.
But yeah, no, he'd throw the big snowball and you just punch fist and then move over a little bit more and punch fist, and you can punch fist through enemies without damaging yourself. So that...
Oh, yeah.
Kind of saved me in that fight. But I got to a point with the levels where I was losing so much money from dying that I couldn't purchase whatever upgrade the level offered me, and I'd have to get it afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. So the upgrades that are offered in the chests, do you get them after the level if you don't buy them?
Yeah, they just cost more.
Yeah, you can find him back in town.
Yeah, like, they don't... Like, you don't get them for free. You know, like...
Okay.
The one offhand I can... like, the one in the ice level, I think I went and bought for, like, 1,000 gold or whatever the currency is, more than... whatever it cost in level.
Interesting.
But in level, I was, like, at... By the time I got to him, I was at, like, 500 or 600 gold or something.
Wow.
Yeah. There are a fair few, actually. There are a lot of areas in this game which are so hard. And I think we talked about it on last week's TVGP. Like, I'm using a stick for this as well. I don't use the D-pad because I can't, like, physically, if I do that with my hand on a controller to bring it down to because I play it on an Xbox. If I bring my thumb down for the D-pad like that, my hand will cramp in about an hour, and then that's it. That's all she wrote for the rest of the day.
That's bad for shoveling.
Yes, exactly. Also, I'm stupid because it took me until the last boss battle to learn that you can reflect bullets back at people by hitting them with your shovel.
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they tried to teach us that as part of the first Black Knight battle, but like you're shoveling wildly and flailing around during the boss battle that you're doing a lot of stuff by accident.
Yeah.
So I was never really clear on the Black Knight. Like, he's just Shovel Knight's rival. He's not like a brother or a friend or okay.
No, I think he's very much like Mega Man. You know, that guy in red that would come down and whistle and jump around. I don't remember what his name is. But
honestly, like if he appeared after Mega Man 3, I'm probably not familiar with him.
I think he should have been Mega Man 3. I'll look him up here. But Mega Man rival red guy.
This is a dumb analogy to make, but he is if I'm going to talk in Doctor Who analogy here, as my cat destroys a cardboard box, he is the Mickey to the Rosa and David Tennant Doctor. Where he's obsessed with Shield Knight, but it's kind of like Shovel Knight and Shield Knight were destined to be together, and Black Knight wasn't.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That is a very good reference. The Mega Man character's name I'm thinking of is Proto Man, and one with like the the scarf and the whistling and anywho, yeah, I feel like the majority of the story is really straightforward when it comes to everything except for Black Knight, because he's a really great tutorial boss, and I think it's really interesting that he's like the only person who doesn't work for the Enchantress, but that sort of makes you not care about him as much, because like, all right, I gotta get through you, like now that I know who the Enchantress is, like, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Did you guys, this is the first time I actually played it, as I said, since release, so the original version didn't have body swap mode. Did you guys play around with that at all?
No. It looked confusing, so I stayed away from it.
That was my take.
So I think it's pretty cool, and I actually swapped the genders of everybody this time. I think it's really neat that you can get very granular, where it's like, all right, I want these people to be men or women, I want these people to be men or women. I changed everybody to women, and what I thought was really cool is they changed the character sprites, not only just the portraits, but the actual sprites for every character, bosses, and your main character, Shovel Knight, Shield Knight, everything was totally changed, including the text for the game. They don't call Shovel Knight him, they call her. You know, they changed everything. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's kind of a neat touch. Like a really neat touch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite part in the game, and I wish the game was more of this style of play, because I think I would be less frustrated when I play it. The Hall of Champions.
Oh
yeah,
I really, really, really liked that area.
I love Hall of Champions.
Pay 5,000, go in. Oh, you're locked in. Oh, there's a bunch of ghosts. What are you doing here? You just, either an NPC will tell you, or you accidentally find out. Oh, this light kills the ghosts. Well, if I kill all the ghosts in the room, the lights turned on, and gradually get through it. And I felt like that was a really rewarding area of the game.
It had a really great Kickstarter joke at the end too, where they're talking about not knowing what the final product will be, even though there's a heavy investment at the beginning.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
Man, I didn't even put that together. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, because all the Hall of Champions, those are all the high tier Kickstarter backers. Those are their portraits in the background.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
Yeah. I thought it might be dev staff or something like that. That explains a lot.
It reminds me of like the super secret area in not Axiom Verge, the other one, the really cool like hardcore combat one. Oh, I wish I could remember. Samurai
This is going to be this episode where we go, oh, that reference that I don't have in my brain now.
This Samurai Swords combat game we did. Really punishing.
Samurai Swords combat game.
Yes. It's like an isometric top-down Zelda, like this really punishing combat. You backed it, I believe, on Kickstarter, and so did my buddy Adrian from London, because I went into the... Go ahead, never mind.
Hey man, I don't know.
We'll
think about it as soon as we stop recording.
Yes. Like all the old adventure games from back in the 80s and 90s always had a secret developer area you'd wander in, and there'd be some goofy version of the dev staff, and they'd say something goofy when you clicked on them. But
I think
sorry.
Go ahead.
As I say, I really like the wandering enemies too. I didn't know that was in the game at all.
Yeah. The big throwback to Mario 3?
Yep.
Or Mario World? It's one of the
Mario 3, yeah. Did you guys... so I played on PS4, Moonpir played on Xbox One. What did you play on? MusiM? Okay. Interesting. So, did you guys fight the platform-exclusive boss?
Which one was that?
Okay, so I got Kratos, Moon got the Battletoads, and I don't know what Switch gets. I'll look it up.
Hold on, I got the Battletoads. I honestly don't know. I don't know if I bought them, if I fought them.
You have to fight all three of them, so you probably would have remembered.
Were they like the wandering kind of bosses?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then yes, I probably fought them at some point.
I think there's an achievement for it too.
King of Cards, maybe.
Yeah, I don't
No,
there's.
I don't know what that is. Okay, maybe there's not one for Switch.
So I just looked. There isn't one for Switch, but there is Amiibo support. So I think they did that.
Oh yeah, I meant to test that out. Like the hard part about like I went real hard on Switch for a few months, and then I stopped playing it for a month, and then I started playing this again, and I already forgot where all the buttons are labeled. So I was constantly accidentally, almost like trying to use an Amiibo or start co-op, and the co-op interface I think would be real good, except that you got to go through a couple button commands to get out of it. I think the Switch will actually work with each player using a Joy-Con too.
Cool.
You don't need like a separate controller.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Hyper Light Drifter was the name of the game I was thinking of, by the way.
Oh, Hyper Light Drifter. Man, that game was good. Whew.
And it's got the
we did a
pedestals.
Game Club for it, for anyone listening.
We did.
Yeah. I think
play that.
One of the things I like about Shovel Knight, we talked about the game's general aesthetic, and we talked about it on TVGP a couple of weeks ago, where very much their goal for the aesthetic was very much like how you remember NES games. Like the NES couldn't technically do everything this game does, but it feels very much like one of those games and sort of how you remember those games looking and playing. I was sort of glad and sort of maybe frustrated because I'm getting older, that they kept the difficulty of a lot of those games in this game. But I really like that they made the concession, which you could bypass if you wanted to, with all the checkpoints. Each level had 4 or 5 checkpoints, and there was always a checkpoint before the boss. I really like that they put that in there, but they also have, that I forgot about, and MusiM learned the hard way of, you can totally break checkpoints, and you get a benefit out of it, but you also run the risk of just starting the entire level over. I like that they gave those, without going into a level and saying, like, I want to play easy, normal, and difficult. They just let you make your own difficulty. I think that's really great. But there's also the trophy for, beating the game without ever falling in a bottomless pit, or beating the game without ever dying, which I think is impossible.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I realized the checkpoint thing in the 3rd level. And previously, I developed this weird theory of, weird, every time I die, it sends me back like an extra checkpoint.
Right.
Not realizing, oh no, I'm screwing myself over. I need to back out and start this over. And I think it was Spectre Knight's level that I finally realized, this is why I have to go through all these frustrating darkness areas continuously. Exit this and then start this over.
My least favorite level is that one.
Yeah, I have that written down here, that Spectre Knight is still one of my least favorite levels. There's just too much in it that makes it too hard, but I really like the boss battle. It feels very much like an old Castlevania boss. But, I still think Tinker Knight has one of my favorite boss battles. I like beating up the little Tinker Knight with the very cool music, and then the big one coming out with the bigger version of that music. I think that's really great.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I had to watch on YouTube, and that one looked like a really cool, real fun boss fight.
Yeah,
I leveled a bit of a pain, but
yes,
I both loved and hated Baz. Baz
is hard.
Yeah, he beat me the first time.
I use Fire Wand a lot on Baz.
I learned that really late. I should probably be using Fire Wand, because I probably bounced off him, literally and metaphorically, about 40 times before I actually beat him. Because I just wasn't good enough for avoiding the lightning strikes when he gets into that stage. I was just like, oh, no, this is my... No, it's not. That was a bad choice. This is my... No, it's not.
I use the phasing a lot. Up until that point in the game, whenever I got phasing to a little bit after Baz, I almost exclusively just phased my way out of every problem I could phase my way out of in that game.
Yeah, I use phasing a lot on Polar Knight. Just to get... if I'm coming down on a set of spikes, just hit up and square, and I can get out of there. That's
where I started. to realize I should use that more often was against Polar Knight, because, again, really cool concept. I hate that boss fight.
Yeah.
Well, I like how the game. I guess this is sort of a positive and a negative. I really like how the game had those little challenge dungeons or levels or whatever, where it's, once you get the punchy gloves, then you can basically do a whole puzzle where you use those throughout a couple of screens, and then you get a bunch of money. Yeah. I really liked those, and I liked being able to choose to go and do them. I still think one of my biggest criticisms of this game are those wandering enemies. I think it's a really great idea, but I think too many times you can sort of get backed into a corner or trapped, and it's like, well, I don't really want to fight these guys, but I just want to go back to town so I can use the meal ticket I got to get health that might get me through this boss. Like, I feel like that is one of the few times they stuck to, like, oh, we're going to make this overworld map very clearly Mario 3, but maybe not any way around it. I would have been okay with, like, take half of my money and I will just come back and fight you later, but nothing like that.
I use the catapults a lot. Like, sometimes it backs you in the corner and you can't do that, but it is annoying, especially because the game is so punishing in terms of your wallet, like your in-game wallet. I think I only did, I think, 3 of the wandering guys, or maybe 4 of them, because I did the weird hero guy with the cape. I did
and like the boomerangs. That's such a weird fight.
Yeah, I think I might have. No, I don't remember how I beat him. And then Boz, and then who was the other one? It was
the Golden Knight with the saber, who attacks does the saber fighting.
Yeah, who just wants you to fight.
Yeah, he's the Goku of the world.
I had the most fun with him.
Yeah, Baz was my big. I think I basically played this game over like 4 sit-ins, and I think 2 of those sit-ins ended with me smashing my head against Baz and just being like, I hate you so much right now.
Yeah. Did you guys fight the hat guy in the second town?
Yes.
Hell, oh my gosh. That was so fun. I did not expect that.
Yep.
Yeah. That was awesome. Find him again and then have him apologize to you for still being there.
Yeah. Oh man, what else? I forgot to mention at the top of the episode, but we only played Shovel of Hope, which is a really great subtitle for this game, because the game originally didn't have a subtitle. We didn't play the other 2 pieces of DLC, and the third one isn't out yet. It will most likely come out the Monday that this show comes out, because, that happened with Mummy Demastered. So I can't speak to any of those, but, man, this game is still just really great, and hard and fantastic.
Yeah. Really quick, I mentioned shade pre-show. Let's talk about throwing some shade towards Boston's direction.
Oh,
Dude,
yes.
It took me like 5 minutes to get that hoop achievement. I don't know what you're playing at.
Man, so there's an achievement for hopping on the kid's hoop in the first town for more than 5 seconds. I don't know, man. I always have problems with that. I'm like landing on the T-bar of the lady who's carrying around the water. I'm just, it's a bad time, man.
I was an idiot and I waited until the catapult was in that area as well. So I had to shift it and then shift it back and then shift it back and constantly try and keep it between the catapult and then leaving the level edge.
Yeah. That was the last trophy I really wanted to get in that game. A lot of the rest of them are like, shoot an enemy with a fire wand from over 25 blocks away, or beat the game without dying. It's like, well, I don't care about some of those, and I'm not going to beat the game without dying. I've always wanted to go back and play New Game Plus just to see what it is, as I don't remember. But it's probably some horrible difficulty where it's like you only get 1 health and you can't buy shovel upgrades.
I checked New Game Plus as you carry everything over. Like, literally everything. So, if you purchase everything in the original game, you can complete the game and get the don't spend any money achievement because you don't have to buy anything.
Oh.
Good to know.
Interesting.
I may or may not be planning my future with Shovel Knight and the DLC.
Yeah, I can see the wheels turning. All right, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was really surprised. I know this is probably something I should have mentioned at the beginning, that the gameplay was Zelda 2. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't expecting that at all, since I feel like sometimes I'm the only one who really likes that Zelda a lot. But
that's a great Zelda game.
I don't think I've ever played it.
The Adventures of Link?
What is that cat noise in the background? Is that a cat going to the bathroom?
No, that is a cat. You remember during the break on TVGP one day when I opened the cupboard door and he was in the cupboard?
Yeah.
That's him inside of the cupboard, realizing he's inside of a cupboard.
Help, I'm trapped, please.
Yes.
Well, Zelda 2 is one of my favorites, even though it is sort of the black sheep of the series. And I feel like it's very much, no Siri, not right now. I feel like it's very much Zelda 2, and it feels way more like that when you first fight Black Knight, because you're like, oh, this is like that Link versus Link fight at the end of Zelda 2. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I really love the downstrike thing. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
Well, now that Moonpir has returned from saving Sherlock from his self-imposed prisoning in the cupboard, let's talk about our final impressions. We'll start with MusiM.
I really liked the game, even though it really frustrated me in parts, and even though I'm really not a 2D precision platformer guy. I'm thinking like I should have stuck to my original plan with the game of just trying to play one level at a time. So,
right.
Like, I still want to go back and finish the game, even though I know everything that happens and the story and stuff. But I like the game enough that I'd like to go do that. So I like it. Recommend it.
Moonpir, how about you?
Yeah, pretty much the exact same. One thing I will throw in is there is the boss rush at the end of the game, which when I saw it coming, I was like, no, please don't make me do this.
With them on that table, I was like, this is cool. Oh no, I have to fight them all again, crap.
Mm-hmm. But then when you actually go through it, I breezed through the boss rush. Like, first time did it, and I was thinking, well, that's just because I've gotten better, and because now I've faced them all before, and I died so many times previously, I know their patterns. So that's actually, I think, one of the few times boss rushes are done really, really well, because it's just like, okay, this is a breeze now. It doesn't punish you and expect you to do it with one life bar, which is what I was expecting.
Yeah, like a Mega Man style, where it's like, all right, you got one try at this, like, beat 8 bosses. Yep. They're giving you health between each one, which is nice.
Yeah, and I mean, like MusiM said, I think I'm done with the precision platformer days. I'm not gonna go out and deliberately aim to perfect anything, but it's really fun to play. Like, it's really tough and really frustrating, and when you make the same mistake 4 times in a row and you know it's your fault, that's when I literally had to walk away. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm 3/4 of the way through the ice stage. If I keep trying this, I'm going to just throw something. So turn the game off and walk away. But the game's really great. Like, I kind of went into this with high expectations, and I wasn't disappointed. The game is genuinely fun to play, and kind of exactly what I needed at this point in time. Like, it really worked out quite nicely.
Yeah. I don't have too much to add on top of that. The only thing I'll say is, to add on top of me loving the soundtrack, there's an arranged version of the soundtrack, where a whole bunch of famous composers remix pretty much all of the tracks, including the one of the composers for Castlevania does a really great remix of the Flying Whale track, and it's so good. So go check that out. It's really great. But now that we're done with Shovel Knight, let's talk about our next game. This was chosen by the patrons over patreon.com/E1M1. We actually had a tie, and before we recorded the episode, I had Google flip a coin for me, and it was between Owlboy and the Darksiders War Mastered edition. And Owlboy 1, 2016's Owlboy, game that was in development for literally 9 years. It's finally out. It's out on PC, OS X, Linux, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. So you probably own one of those. And I am very excited to play this because I have been... It pretty much when it came out, we put it on the Game Club list, and I've been waiting the last 2 years to play it. So go pick up Owlboy, and we will talk about that in 4 more weeks, the 3rd Saturday of next month. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you to both of you guys for joining me yet again.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you all next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.